G'day ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dean Davey, and in today's session I'll be presenting to you on a topic of organizational behavior, more specific to leadership. I really trust that you enjoy this session with me because leadership certainly is one of my passions in life. Does your leadership style need an upgrade? I don't know if you noticed, but the world has changed. Never before has the rate of change been as severe and as incremental as it is today. We've just gone through a recession. Never before in the world has there been so much information available to executives, information that they have to gather, assimilate, and use to make decisions on a daily basis. Never before in the world has leading been so difficult. You've got the Generation X, you've got the Generation Y, you've got the baby boomers. There's so many decisions to make around so many different people. One can safely say that the old adage of a democratic and an autocratic leadership style are probably gone. Well, let's explore this theory. Before we get started, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just lay down the key learning objectives for this session. The first learning objective is really to explore the difference between leadership and management. And the second objective is really to explore a model called the situational leadership model. So let's get right into the thick of things. I know that you've heard this over and over again, the discussion between the difference of leadership versus management. There's so many theories out there, and I've read almost every single one of these theories, but simply put, in my opinion, the difference between leadership and management is the following. 1, leadership is inspirational and management is operational. 2, leadership is strategic and takes a long-term perspective. Management takes a short-term perspective and is more tactical. 3, leadership is motivating action, getting people to do things and want to do things that you need them to do. Management is monitoring performance, very much in the current, not the future, and managing past performance. I'd like to give you a very simple example of my clearest definition and understanding of the difference between leadership and management. And this makes sense to me. Hopefully it will make sense to you as well. Imagine you're the leader of a team. In that team, you've got 10 individuals. And one of those individuals' name is Jack. Jack is a highly talented individual. He's just joined the firm 3 or 4 months ago. And he's doing incredibly well. However, Jack has a major issue around working in a team. Now, when I put on my leadership hat, what I should be thinking about are the following things. 1, does Jack meet the culture of the organization? 2, can I convince Jack through some inspirational and motivational leadership to conform to the values and culture of the organization? And 3, how do I get Jack on that path by virtue of good career counseling to want to make that change? You see, I'm taking a long-term perspective on this. I'm seeing the value that he could add, and I'm trying to manipulate his behavior into that space of positive behavior, which can really have an impact on our organization. If I was taking strictly a management perspective on this, I'd probably be looking at it from a different perspective. I'd be looking at it as from an operational perspective, from a performance management perspective. And my discussion with Jack would probably be more around the fact that he is doing well in terms of the technical side, the sales side, but around the team environment and being conducive to being a team player, he probably needs some performance management, and those are the discussions I'll have with him. Simply put, that's my difference between leadership and management. I know there's various scenarios that you can use, but hopefully that's given you a slight insight into the difference between leadership and management. Fantastic. Now that we've covered the difference between leadership and management, I'd like to move into a leadership model that is commonly known as the situational leadership model. The situational leadership model really throws out the archaic method of the democratic and the autocratic leader. Historically, there were only 2 ways to lead. It was either I was democratic and I gave my people a say in what and how and when we did stuff, or I was autocratic and I was very directive, and that's how I led. I didn't give them a say. However, the situational leadership model really turns that archaic form of leadership on its head. Simply put, and by definition, the situational leadership model is the following. It's a model that applies the right leadership style to the right person in the right situation, based on your or my, as the leader's assessment of that person's competence and commitment. Competence is defined as knowledge, skill, and experience. Commitment is defined as attitude and confidence. So what does this mean? Basically what it means is my leadership style needs to be very reactive to a specific situation. No longer autocratic or democratic, very much flexible to the current situation based on an individual's competence and commitment for a specific task. So, with that as a definition, let's explore the situational leadership model in a little bit more detail. Right. On the slide, you'll see what looks like a very busy slide, and it's really the situational leadership model in its fullest extent. And I'm going to start with the top of the slide, where really the crux of the situational leadership model unfolds. Like I said earlier, you have to adapt your leadership style in terms of the situational leadership model to the commitment and competence of an individual. Now, research has shown that along a learning journey from being incompetent or an enthusiastic beginner for a specific task, all the way to a self-reliant achiever, there's a specific flow of events. And I'm going to take you through that flow of events along the learning journey of a specific learner. The journey goes as follows. Imagine you're given a new task. What we now call you is the enthusiastic beginner. Why? You are very, very enthusiastic and very geared and psyched to do well. You might not have all the competence in the world, but you've got a lot of confidence in your ability and you're very enthused to get going. What we would refer to that is high on commitment, low on competence. Right. So, you have 2 or 3 days on the job and you find out that this isn't going as well as you thought it might. You make a few mistakes. What happens? Your confidence goes down, and so does your commitment. You have actually been 3 or 4 days on the job. You've actually grown in competence, so you've got better from a skill and an experience perspective. However, your confidence is low. And so this stage of your learner journey is known as disillusioned learner. In the disillusioned learner state, your confidence or commitment is low and your competence is average. It's beginning to build. The next stage. So, a week goes by and you've worked a little bit more at this task. You now start moving into what is commonly known as the capable but cautious learner. What's happened here, ladies and gentlemen? Well, you've realized it's not that bad. You've realized that you can do this, that this task is not insurmountable. As a result, you start doing some stuff, getting it right, and your manager starts seeing that you're getting it right, and he or she starts complimenting you and praising you, and as a result, your confidence goes up. Where are you in this stage? Well, your commitment is getting higher. It's what's now termed variable, and your competence is definitely higher because you've been doing this for a week or 10 days. Enter the next stage and the final stage, known as the self-reliant achiever. Where are you in this stage of your learner journey? You've been on this task for 2 or 3 weeks. You've had a lot of feedback from your managers. You've grown in skill. You've grown in ability. You've got experience. And as a result, your commitment and your confidence is high. So where are you now on the scale of confidence and commitment? You're high. On competence, you're very high. Now, that's the learner journey. What does the situational leadership model say about that specific learner journey? It says you need to apply a specific leadership style to the correct stage of the learner journey. So if you look at the bottom of the slide, what you'll see is various leadership styles that are very relevant to the stage of the learner journey. So let's go through this quickly. Around the enthusiastic beginner, the correct leadership style would be directing. Around the disillusioned learner, the correct leadership style would be coaching. Around the capable but cautious learner, your correct leadership style would be supporting. And obviously around the self-reliant achiever, very much a delegatory leadership style.